Welcome back, everybody. We are back to We Are TPM. Thank you again for tuning in to myself, Kyle Teixeira. Sitting next to me, as always, is John Teixeira. This week, we are going to talk about the summer of 23. Just the summer of 23. We'll get into it. If you like anything we talk about, want some more information on the summer of 23 that just occurred, give us a call, 817-818-9039. Shoot us an email at showmethemoney@wearetpm.com. Don't forget, we are TPM.
We are TPM.
John, what are we talking about? Summer of 23?
I didn't know if we were going to break into Bryan Adams' song or if you were going to rap right there with your back. We're gonna start rap with the back.
I don't know, because I don't want to age myself by asking you who Bryan Adams is,
right.
Even though I know he probably sings the summer of 69.
There you go. You got it. You nailed it. So why are we talking about this? We're talking about it because I feel like we do a pretty good job managing the homes that we manage of protecting ourselves from extremes, right? But yet this extreme of summer of 23 still got us and probably got everybody else.
Was an extreme, yes. And I wanted to call this the perfect storm because honestly, it's the worst perfect storm, right? You know, it's
Well, it didn't even feel that bad. It wasn't like an ice storm, right? Or 40 days of rain or anything that you could really think back on. It was just
a subtle combination of really bad things that people don't realize until they start seeing the results, right? And we were expecting it. And what we're talking about really is essentially a heat wave, 100 days, over 100 degrees with no rain. That's what we had. That's what we experienced here in North Texas. And what that does to your properties, what it has done to the properties, and the extreme effect that it quickly has had. Because, to summarize this, we had, we could go each point at a time, but we had that heat wave, and then we had flash flooding right after it. It was the first thing rain we got. We didn't get subtle rain. We didn't get sprinkle rain. It didn't ease in. It flash flooded. Mm-hmm. And then for 2 days. Mm-hmm. And then right after that, we had a freeze for 2 days.
We did. I forgot about that.
And then we had flash flooding again. So
and then we're back to warm weather.
It just sounds like a bunch of extremes, right? But that is a subtle combination of weather that is absolutely horrible for foundations of your property, especially if you happen to be in some kind of an area or state or something like North Texas where you have clay in the ground everywhere. So let's get into why is it so bad? I mean, you're a physicist, right?
And I'm not, but I do understand how the gumbo clay that we live on works, right? And so everybody in North Texas lives on a certain amount of gumbo clay. Some of us are lucky enough to live on, maybe an inch of it, and some of us live on 12 feet of it, right? And so the more of it that's underneath your house, the more movement you get. But basically it expands and contracts with the amount of moisture that is in the ground. And when we haven't had any rain for a long time and you don't have a sprinkler system or a soaker hose system around your home, then the ground becomes very dry and it continues to shrink. And just when you think it can't shrink anymore, you have the summer of 23 and it continues to shrink even more.
But who really cares? Our house is sitting on a slab on top of the ground.
But that ground is shrinking underneath the slab.
Yeah, but...
And it's not just the slab and the foundation, right? What else is running through the ground?
Nothing. Oh, yeah, the drain
pipes,
water lines, all that stuff.
Goodness gracious.
Even people don't think of this, but this has even happened. Your electrical lines that come out of the ground can literally be ripped out of your meter from the contracting of, it's
we
one
did
of the more,
have that happen this year.
Yeah, we've had it happen this year. We had it in previous years, but this year it happened again where literally the ground contracted so much due to the heat wave that the wires that were up in the meter were yanked down by the ground and the power to the house got turned off because of that.
Yeah, that's kind of extreme and kind of weird. But, we do, like I said, I started this with saying we do all the things that we need to do, that we think we need to do to try to protect our homes from this. And it is so extreme that we have some things that we can learn from it, right?
Like watering your foundation is probably the most important maintenance item you can do because, it's never when it's happening that things show their ugly head, right? Because you think of it like a sponge, if the ground contracts, it'll pull on things, right? But it's usually the continuation of that. So like if it doesn't break your drains or your water lines, it's moving them at the minimum, right? So now it's pulled them down or to the left or the right, wherever it pulled them, it moved them. Now, when you get moisture back into that ground, it's gonna move them again.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you'd think it would just move it back into place, but that's not the way things work, right? It's kind of like shifting things back and forth, and it makes it even worse. So,
well, and people think that it's counterintuitive actually how the water into the ground works, and I've had this conversation with clients too. It's like you would think that the more 100 days no rain, the more dry the ground is, the more susceptible it is to soaking in that water. It's actually not true. It is less permeable, whatever the word is. It runs over it because it's so dry.
Quicker, yeah.
It doesn't soak in. It takes more time to soak the water in, the less moisture it has, which is why when right after a 100-day heat wave, what you aren't looking for steady moisturization of your foundation and ground is flash flooding, like 4 inches in one day.
That just all runs off. So and to your point, consistent moisture around your home at all times, every day, all the time, is the best way to protect yourself from all of this, right? Mm-hmm. So Kyle, if I don't have a sprinkler system, am I expecting my tenant then to go out there every day when it's 100 days of no rain to go out there and water the foundation? Do they care like I do?
Well, you're probably, if you're a landlord, you're probably expecting that. Yeah. I'd say unrealistically expecting it, even though it is in it's in our leases, it's in most people's leases. But there's ways like soaker hoses.
It's 106.
Yeah. Soaker hoses to protect somebody else's home, right? That you're not, only lease obligated to protect.
You gave it to me with crappy grass anyways. What do you want me to do? Water the crappy grass?
Yeah, well, this is where we suggest things like soaker hoses on timers, right? They go around, and every day or 2 days, depending on the situation, it's hoses that.
So let's talk about
water through all of them.
Yeah, so let's talk about soaker hoses real quick, because the purpose of them though is going to be to help with the foundation, right? Mm-hmm. To keep the moisture around the home consistent. However, what it's not going to do is it's not going to necessarily keep those drain pipe breaks from happening that happen underneath the slab or underneath the driveway or 12 feet from the home, right?
It will significantly give you a better chance, though.
It will. I mean, it will help, but it may not completely alleviate it, which is kind of why we're talking about the summer of 23 and the extremes that we've gone through.
Yeah. Because you can, and there's other solutions. There's like at my personal house, at my new house, I don't have a sprinkler system. What I did was I just, I have little hand timers and the little thing that sprays back and forth that it sprays my yard, and just do that every day. When I get home, I freaking spin the timer in the front, spin the timer in the back, and it was watering the ground, watering the foundation. It was significant enough.
Because you don't even have any grass to water.
No, I have an insane amount of trees on my property. So
you live in a pine forest.
But when you have 100-foot tall pine trees towering over your house, you probably want them not to spend 100 days with water because they get weak. And they may have been standing up there for 100 years, but the summer of 23 seems to be a little bit different.
There's a lot of things to think about with that, isn't there? Like trees.
Like my wife thinks of falling on our house and crushing us. So.
Well, tree roots. It's a good point though, because tree roots naturally are looking for moisture. When there's a lack of moisture in the ground, they can probably do more damage by searching for that moisture.
And they retain water at an insane rate. They're even with the smallest amount of water, like especially those pine trees are going to be okay. Mm-hmm. But no water for 100 days in 108-degree weather, dries even trees out. We've had, and that's why we're talking about this, because the effect isn't small. These things coming all at once, it really does have an impact. Like, we are a management company, and we have had more broken, fallen trees during the heat wave and after can be even worse as these things try to get their strength back, and then a windstorm comes through and they haven't got it all in one part or whatever. However, I'm not trying to be a tree expert, but we've seen it. They've been snapping. They've been
even more importantly is been the bigger issue this at the end of this summer is the amount of broken drain pipes we've had to deal with, which is extremely not only expensive but critical that you get right on top of. And not all homeowners have the ability to, out of the blue, all of a sudden spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to have somebody dig and tunnel under their house and replace drain pipes.
Well, and that's where this summer was so bad, because what we're talking about and what really happens is it contracts and breaks those pipes, but it doesn't show its ugly head until it starts moving back usually, because say the drain pipe cracks, but because it's being yanked, now the water and stuff is getting into your foundation and getting it wet in one spot, which is just worse for your foundation. And then we get rain, and the ground starts getting moisture, and now the pipe that's still connected to the house moves back with the house, and the one that cracked didn't, and now you got a displacement of the pipe, and it won't even drain, let's call it dirty water through the pipe. So that's what you see. So that's why, like, the couple weeks after this heat wave ended and when we started getting rain and stuff is really when it started peering its ugly head.
This past 60 days, we've probably spent more money on drain work than we have the entire time we've been managing homes.
Mm-hmm. And it's it's an urgent issue. You can't. And your house can't drain. And when it is draining, it's draining into your foundation.
You have to take care of it now.
Yeah,
otherwise, you'll have worse problems. Well, let's talk about that. What if you don't take care of it? Because I know that there's people that are like, oh, I can't do that. And it's draining, and just plunge it and just snake it and keep going. Because people do that, right? They know that they've got a break, or they possibly have a break. Instead of paying somebody to put a camera down and find out where the break is, or dealing with it, they continuously maybe go out every 2 or 3 months and snake it out.
Yeah.
What are we accomplishing? If the break is underneath the slab and water is pouring under the slab, you will literally have an expansion of that slab and what we call upheaving, and that is probably the most expensive foundation repair that you can do.
Every answer we can say is dollar bills. You're going to spend more money on water, and you're going to
fix the drain line as soon as you know about it.
As soon as you know. I mean, there is no other.
It causes so many more problems.
Because $3,000 drain repair turns into a $10,000 to $15,000 foundation repair, or a driveway
with more
repair.
Drain repair afterwards.
With the same drain repair still being needed, and then at the end of it, now you've just spent a ton of money on something you nursed over the years.
Example, I just had this happen in one of my rent houses that is fairly new, has a sprinkler system, has everything that you need, right? Unfortunately, I have a neighbor next to me that has a pool that they let it overflow down the side yard, and I think that's the reason why we had some problems. But that's just me surmising, and I don't really know that for a fact. But this is a testament to what you're talking about, is we noticed cracks in a home that shouldn't have had any cracks and shouldn't have had any movement really quickly. It was reported to us immediately. We got right on it. We immediately found a drain line break, a pretty good sized drain line break from the summer of 23. And actually a couple of them, fixed them immediately. I had my foundation people go out there and they said no need for any foundation work. But they could tell, and they said the same thing. You got right on this. Had you not done that, it was definitely on its way to breaking the foundation. You can see where the foundation was starting to break. And that's a testament to, I probably saved a ton of money by spending about $5,000 now instead of $15,000 later.
It can snowball on you because, look, you don't fix the drains, right? And this is where we caught it kind of in the middle part. But you don't fix the drains, then you get cracks in the house and everything. That's how you start seeing it, and the foundation shifting. Now, we missed one. You got to do foundation work you got to probably do plumbing repairs after that foundation work,
because
you're probably going to break
foundation
mow
work, you
drains
break
now.
more. Yep.
And then you have to do the actual drain repair that you never addressed. And then you have to wait some time and come back in and do tape bed and texturing and painting and fixing up all the cracks.
Yep.
And then hope that those don't settle over time, and then maybe foundation adjustments later. So it's just a snowball that like you don't want to mess with, and is all a testament to the importance of keeping your foundation. This is very important in Texas. These same things will not apply into like the Northwest. You have different issues. But we're talking about the summer of 23 in and around North Texas.
Or anybody that's sitting on clay, right?
Yeah.
It has a similar type of so, I mean, there's a lot of places in the South where there's the same clay that we're on. But Kyle,
and clay can cause so many problems in this scenario, because like we've pulled drains out where one of the breaks showed its ugly head and started causing problems, and then had to replace the drain line and realized that, the next 20 feet of this drain has been broken probably for a long time. It's just burrowed through clay that kind of seals that drain back up. So and then the part that was in dirt is what started messing things up. So we've seen a lot in regard to drains.
Hey, with this, I hope I want the right message to be sent here. This is to make people aware of how to properly maintain their homes. Whether you're a homeowner, landlord, doesn't matter. These things need to be done every summer and every winter. We have dry winters, and dry winters are just as devastating as dry summers. Now, the ground doesn't dry up as fast because it's not hot, but it does dry up and it does still constrict. And people think because their grass went dormant that they don't need to water it. That is not true. Water your appeared to be dead grass all winter long, at least 2 or 3 times a week.
And our office is a testament to this, not just the grass. I mean, not if you think you don't have like grass around your property, like we have river rock all around our office, right? There's driveways, it's concrete, all of that there's no grass there, but that's still a foundation that needs to be watered, or you're going to have shifting, because all that stuff's still sitting on top of dirt. Like we put soaker hoses in, or I'd say additional soaker hoses in during this summer, because our doors and stuff started shifting, and the building started shifting, and that's one way you could go adjust everything and just fight, fight everything every season.
But then it has to shift back.
Yeah, then it's got to shift back. So, we start watering. We upped our watering of the foundation, and the doors just shifted right back.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. No, you did a good job of doing that. But I don't want people to be scared off by like, oh my gosh, I don't want to buy a house in North Texas, or I don't want to rent. Look, this is something everybody in the South deals with, and all you have to do is be aware of it and know how to deal with it to protect yourself from it. And when it does happen, it's good that you listen to 2 doofuses like us that told you about it, so that you kind of know what to do, right? It's fixable. Everything's fixable. Yeah, I know not everybody has, the money to fix everything as timely as it needs to be, but it's still...
It's just to bring it to knowledge, because people are like, why is this just happening all at once? Like, that's why it's happening all at once.
Summer 23, baby.
And in sprinkler systems, a whole bunch of people have sprinkler systems and don't use them. Yeah. And that can be an even bigger problem, because now the same shifting easily breaks that sprinkler system. I'd argue those are the first things that break when you get ground movement, is those PVC pipes that are just under the ground and the valves, and then you get leaks in your sprinkler system. So not using the sprinkler system will ruin the sprinkler system in these types of situations. So because we've seen that too. And then now you have the same problem. If your sprinkler system's leaking and pouring water into one spot, that causes the same kind of issues. Generally somewhere under your driveway and all that stuff. So.
We're calling this the summer of 23 because it was so extreme. The last summer I remember like this was 2006. I think we had a really dry summer in 2006 we had like record number of days over 100. But we did have some rain. That was the thing. We had rain during that summer.
And it's like the ability of like, I don't want to get too deep into this, but like the ability of like trees and plants and your ground to retain water for a long period of time is actually pretty impressive, like especially with the trees. And that was one of the issues that was very unique to the summer of 23 was because tree removals and chop downs and grinding the stump and all that stuff not only is very expensive, but is also has the same negative effect on your foundation. And once that tree comes down, there's not really much you can do, because when these big trees break and die and you have to chop them up and there's no rain and all this stuff like has happened, now all their roots underground die and that contracts the soil. So we've seen a lot of that. It's just we call it the perfect storm because it's a horrible combination we've had without just a little bit of rain.
Yep.
And then we got teased with a flash flooding at the end of it, which didn't help anything. So just reminded us of where all the places roofs and stuff cracked during foundation shiftings.
It's so far this fall, it's been an expensive fall for expenses for a lot of our homeowners. And so that's what brought this subject to light. That's why we were thinking back on our summer and why we're having such, a higher amount of expenses than we normally see, and what's bringing to light. And that's why we brought this to you guys. Like, hey, this happens. It doesn't happen often, but it happens every summer to some degree. And to some degree, you need to be aware of it and always be paying attention to creating consistent moisture in, under, and around your property. Always.
And equally spread moisture, too. Because you don't just want to go stand out with a hose and focus it on one spot of your thing every day, and then
have you ever been one of those fields that has one of those like Grand Canyon sized cracks in there, and you stick a hose in it and it just runs for hours and water never comes up and never fills up that hole? You're like, I'm filling up the center of the earth right now with water.
Yep. Because now all you're really doing is creating a water spot down there or wherever that's ending up, and that's a problem too. So.
I've literally done that just out of just sheer entertainment. Put one in one of those holes for like a whole day to see if it ever fills up, and it never does.
So if you ever have a sinkhole at your house, blame John Teixeira.
There's a water table underneath. Yeah. Sometimes the cracks get so big you're going straight to the water table.
See, and this is why, golf courses keep watering their golf course all through the summer.
They stay green.
Yeah, they stay green. So,
especially the country clubs. Woo, they stay real green, don't they?
The greenest ones are the ones owned by the city. I wonder why.
Huh.
They don't have water restrictions. So
we have a new lake. We have a new lake coming.
All right. Is it going to dry up in the summer of 23?
I don't know, but might help the water problem. I don't know.
Well, if y'all want to talk to us about any of the concepts of this summer of 23 problem and flash flooding and freaking Texas clay that everybody loves so much, give us a call, 818. That's not the number, actually. It's 817-818-9039. Or you can shoot us an email, good old-fashioned email at showmethemoney@wearetpm.com. Or come say hi to us on top of the good old Texas clay in downtown Mansfield, Texas, and see our smiling faces. But other than that, me and John are out.